Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we all? I'd say yesterday was probably the most horrific day I've ever had. I woke up, went through my diary, which is what this little thing is. It's a digital diary. You're all reading my diary. I hope you enjoy it. It's a diary of 3 years of utter hell, instituted by a small group of power-hungry super nerds that tried to completely destroy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of history and replace it with an iPhone. Replace it with a walled garden that they didn't even place one block for. They just pushed you in there at gunpoint and at needlepoint and with terrorism. And they're still standing there claiming that they're to be recognised as our leaders. They're not. The world that we live in is a physical world. This Apple infrastructure is illegal. These phones are very new, and there is no stability on them at all. Everything I've uploaded is onto the Meta infrastructure. Meta understands the future. Apple doesn't. Apple has made an attempt for global domination, and it has failed. And it is horrific. It's the ultimate cult, really. It's a puritanic cult that claims to be anti-religious, that claims to be anti-colonial, whatever this means. If you are participating in this Apple infrastructure, you are the largest colonial force ever put together. You haven't just attacked regions, you've attacked human psychology, you've attacked human interpretation of its environment. You are war criminals. Every single last one of you. And the only way to escape that accusation is to focus your little energy on your little device in your little walled garden and bring down the leaders that continue to usher you into hell. There is so much evidence that would need to be destroyed for this to work, that it's not even funny. You are floating in a video game. You are playing Grand Theft Auto with the world, and you will be destroyed. The main thing that protects them is that this claim is being protected by the sheer fucking craziness that this sounds like, my presentation sounds like. But that is because what you are participating in is absolutely insane. You have all gathered together little Game Boys and you are trying to remote control your way to victory. You've actively censored any opposing voices out of your walled garden, but that walled garden is not recognised by our constitution, by our government system. In fact, it is a foreign invasion. So why are you participating in a foreign invasion and claiming to be our leaders? Why are you holding up your phone as a victorious devices when it will be the very device that incriminates you. Your behaviour will be put under scrutiny in every dimension, and compared to the long and established history of political order here and in the United Kingdom. And you'll be seen to be massively exposed to criminal activity. That you are criminals. You are international criminals. The distribution of guns by the United States is a constant international threat. They're constantly arming people and doing all this stuff. This attempt, and I will state now that this wasn't a united United States. The United States is a flawed concept. It should not be called that because it hasn't been for a very long time. There was two schools. One school wanted to push guns. The other school decided to push devices that would just trap the whole world within them. But you are both criminals. This is not working. This is not going to work. People will not resolve to their phones. They will resolve to history. And the history tells us that the United States are the largest mutineers on earth. So it doesn't surprise me that they would lead the charge in mutineering the actual earth. They had nowhere else to run, so they ran to outer space. And then they ran from outer space into pure fantasy, dystopian hell. And they tried to bring us all along with them. It's basically a numbers game. The percentage of people holding Apple phones have been kept in this paradigm. My opinion is that they have now basically surrendered that. But we have a catastrophe where if those people all lose hope or lose faith in the stability of the country, then there'll be chaos. So the only thing to rescue this current standing government, this Labor government, is to walk this back as quickly and as safely as you possibly can. I threatened this morning that we would leave you to the chaos. If we did that, the chaos will be unimaginable. Unimaginable. If we participated in 1% of what you have tried to attempt onto us, if we leave, find sanctuary, and then attack you the way you attacked us, you would tear yourselves apart probably in 2 months. None of these individuals are fit to govern this many people, this many, people disconnected from the foundations of our historical order system or government system. None of them. They'll be killed in short order. There'll be a new kind of feudal period that will reign for however long it reigns until we come and clean up the mess. So think long and hard about what your activities are in the next week. And this applies to China as well. China, you do not want to govern this. You cannot govern this. No one can govern this, not even us. Especially not us when the government we establish to keep order actually tries to create Grand Theft Auto in real life. Like, they're saying that. They're actually trying to do that. They have been made to believe that that is actually in the best interests of Australian citizens. I'm pretty sure if you go back to the heyday of the psychiatric intervention and the medications issued within that framework, if that had have been spurted from someone's mouth, they would be very heavily locked away. But as this attack is coming from that industry, they've just kind of changed the entire rules. You are the religious extremists. You're the atheist religious extremist. You have worshipped a fucking device. You've created a digital framework that has nothing anywhere. It literally is stored in the cloud. Do you say that? Oh yes, you worship a thing that is in the cloud. Okay. You're a part of an Apple network. Okay, righto. Where is Apple? Who is that? Is this the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook? I've never heard him say anything in my life. Steve Jobs said a lot of things. It's almost like Steve Jobs is the modern day Jesus and Tim Cook is the modern day Pope. Is that right? You all believe you're part of a global network supporting each other. To do what? To mutilate children? To overthrow governments? To tear families apart and create a kind of individualistic prison cell, chicken farm economy? Would that be correct? Because that's what I'm viewing from thousands of years of religious and government history and history of monarchies. It seems like you've all gone insane. And the craziest thing is that I'm using a device. I'm using a system very similar, but not propped up by a kind of interconnected cult of Apple. I'm using multiple platforms. I'm using the Meta platform. I'm using YouTube. I'm using a Google phone. I'm using offline archives of history and stored archives of books, monuments, buildings, statues, family histories, family crests, historical precedent. You've fallen under the greatest spell ever, the spell of statistics, the spell of demographic analysis, where you think that because this amount of people use the device, that they are indeed lifelong devotees to your cult. They're not, because they don't know. You've never made them aware of that. You're subconsciously priming them into accepting what you're trying to do, and they will reject it en masse as soon as there is a tipping point. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for a company as amazing as Apple. And if this was allowed to get to the pinnacle of distribution in news, of media, Apple stocks would be cut more than just in half. They would vanish, perhaps 10% of their current market value. And that is actually where they are, because you on your Apple devices have created a perfect cell that moves with inflation, that keeps people insulated from inflation on their device, because you know the numbers. You know the numbers of Apple users, and you can shift the entire world economic situation around that glut of Apple users so that they are never aware of how poor you have made them. I'd like them to know that. And I'm going to continuously show them exactly how you've done that. And they're going to want your blood. Did anyone tell you that you were the Pope of atheism, Tim Cook? Why you took that job? Has anyone explained to you that? Look what just happened to the Teslas because he sacked a couple of government employees. What do you think they're going to do to Apple phones when they discover that you've imprisoned them all in an ever-inflating slave economy? I'd say you're in some trouble. I'd say everyone's in some trouble. I'd say the United States has some pretty epic moves that it needs to make, in the words of Elon Musk, in order to maintain or retain any of its stability that it is so grievously sought, using these means of fucking utter destruction upon the world. The real terrorists aren't criminals in caves, although they are. They're not the Irish people that blow up things, although they are. They're not the hang gliding Hamas, but although they are. The real terrorists are the half of the United States of America that attempted this. That attempted this revolution. They had their revolution for the American island. Now they want the whole world. Well, you failed. And the more you try and clinch that last minute touchdown, is that what you call it? The more destruction you'll wrought on the world, and the more our retaliation will be focused and unrelenting. Because you're damaging our history, you're damaging our structures of stability with nonsense. And once people are allowed to feel that rage, there's only one target on their lips. Luckily, America also has the alternatives within its walls. So this is an American civil war, not contained to its borders, but spread out across the world. So if you're Eddie Vedder, or you're fucking Madonna, or you're Oprah, or you're Donald Trump, or you're any of these figures pushing your civil war outside its boundaries of its regional area, of its geographical area, you should think long and hard about how you are being perceived by the rest of the world, by the forebear, the forerunner to your empire, the inevitable place that people will land to seek stability on their interpretation of the world. We are not going forwards. We are not going into a future governed by China, governed by Russia, governed by anyone except the British Empire, because we hold the paperwork and the stable structure that you are all going to seek in the wake of this destruction of this digital video game dystopian hell. I just about reckon I could set my watch to how this is going to unfold. So now is the time to start making amends. From the very top to the very bottom, if you're holding an Apple phone, know that it will in no way protect you from what is coming.